Welcome back to week 1, lesson 2. In our last lesson, we explored how trauma impacts your nervous system. Today, we're going deeper. We're going to talk about the 4 trauma responses: fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. You've probably heard of fight or flight before, but there are 2 other responses that are just as important and often more common in people with complex trauma: freeze and fawn. By the end of this lesson, you'll be able to identify which response patterns you use most often, and more importantly, you'll understand that none of these responses are wrong. They're survival strategies, and they made perfect sense at the time. Let's dive in. There are 4 primary ways your nervous system responds to threat: fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. Each one is a survival strategy. Each one has a purpose, and each one made perfect sense when you first learned it. Over the next several minutes, we're going to explore all 4 responses in detail. You'll learn how they show up, why they happen, and which ones you use most often. Let's start with fight. Let's start with the fight response. This is your body's way of meeting threat with aggression, anger, or confrontation. The fight response activates when your body decides the best way to survive is to meet the threat head-on. Your sympathetic nervous system floods you with adrenaline. Your muscles tense, your jaw clenches. You're ready to defend yourself. In modern life, this might look like snapping at someone who frustrates you, arguing when you feel cornered, raising your voice when you feel threatened, road rage, irritability that feels impossible to control. It's not anger management issue. It's your nervous system trying to protect you the only way it knows how. Fight shows up in moments of confrontation: a raised voice, a slammed door, fists clenched so tight your nails dig into your palms. It's the argument that escalates before you can stop it, the defensiveness that rises in your throat, the anger that feels bigger than the situation deserves. This is your body saying, "I will not be hurt again. I will protect myself, even if the threat isn't what it seems." Next is the flight response. This is your body's instinct to escape, to get away from danger as quickly as possible. The flight response is your body's instinct to escape danger. When this response activates, you feel an overwhelming urge to get away, to leave, to run. In everyday life, this might show up as avoiding difficult conversations, leaving social situations suddenly when you feel overwhelmed, constantly staying busy so you don't have to feel uncomfortable emotions, always having an exit plan. You might feel restless, like you can never fully settle, like you're always ready to bolt. Flight looks like suddenly needing to leave, the party that becomes unbearable, the conversation you exit abruptly, the constant busyness that keeps you from ever sitting still. It's scrolling endlessly on your phone to avoid uncomfortable feelings. It's changing the subject when things get too real. It's the physical sensation that you need to move, to escape, to run. Your body is saying, "If I stay here, something bad will happen," even when you're safe. Now let's talk about freeze. This is one of the most misunderstood responses and one of the most common in people with trauma histories. The freeze response happens when your nervous system determines that neither fighting nor fleeing will keep you safe. So instead, it shuts down. You become immobilized. This is not a choice. This is a biological response. Your dorsal vagal system activates, slowing everything down to conserve energy and reduce the threat. In daily life, freeze can look like going blank during conflict, being unable to speak or move when you're scared, feeling numb or disconnected, procrastinating on important tasks because you feel paralyzed. Dissociation. People often judge themselves harshly for freezing, but this response kept you safe when nothing else would. Freeze looks like going blank, The mind that suddenly empties when someone asks you a direct question. The body that won't move even though you want it to. It's staring at the task you need to do but feeling completely unable to start. It's the numbness that washes over you when emotions get too big. It's dissociation, disconnection. Your body is saying, if I stay very still, maybe the danger will pass. Maybe I'll be invisible. And finally, the fawn response. This one is often the least talked about, but it's incredibly common, especially for those who experience childhood trauma. The fawn response is about appeasing the threat, making yourself useful, likable, or invisible so that the danger will pass you by. This response often develops in childhood when you learned that pleasing others kept you safer than any other strategy. In adulthood, fawn shows up as people-pleasing. Difficulty saying no, abandoning your own needs to meet someone else's, over-explaining and apologizing constantly, feeling responsible for other people's emotions. You might lose yourself in relationships, becoming whoever the other person needs you to be. This isn't weakness. This is survival. Fawn looks like saying yes when you mean no. It's the smile you force when you're uncomfortable, the over-explaining, the apologizing for things that aren't your fault. It's losing yourself in relationships, becoming whoever the other person needs. It's feeling responsible for everyone's comfort and happiness except your own. Your body is saying, if I make them happy, they won't hurt me. If I'm useful, I'm safe, even when the threat is long gone. Each trauma response has distinct body sensations. Fight feels hot, tense, activated. Your fists might clench, your jaw tightens. You feel energy surging through your body, ready to strike. Flight feels anxious, restless, jittery. Your legs want to move. Your heart races. You can't sit still. Freeze feels heavy, numb, disconnected, like you're moving through fog. Your body feels like lead. You can't access words or movement. Fawn feels collapsed, accommodating. You notice yourself smiling when you don't want to. Your voice goes softer. You make yourself smaller. Learning to recognize these sensations is key to identifying your response in real time. You don't have to fit neatly into one category. Most people use different responses in different contexts. You might freeze with your boss, fawn with your partner, and fight with your siblings. You might flight from social situations but freeze during conflict. Your nervous system is adaptive. It's learned what works where, and that complexity is normal. You're not inconsistent, you're human. These responses often form in childhood based on what kept you safest in your specific environment. If fighting back led to more punishment, you learned to freeze or fawn instead. If running away worked, flight became your default. If pleasing others kept you safe, fawn became your survival strategy. Your younger self was brilliant. They figured out exactly what they needed to do to survive. But now, as an adult, these same responses can feel limiting. They can show up when you don't want them to. And that's what we're here to change. Think back to the environment you grew up in. What did you learn about safety? If anger was dangerous, you learned to freeze or fawn. If leaving wasn't an option, you learned to fight or appease. If no one protected you, you learned to protect yourself in whatever way worked. Maybe you watched a parent's face carefully, learning to read their mood before they even spoke. Maybe you made yourself small and quiet. Maybe you fought back. Maybe you ran. Whatever you did, it worked. You're here. You survived. These responses are proof of your resilience, not evidence of your brokenness. Imagine a future where you feel the activation starting and you pause. You notice, you breathe, you recognize this is fight, this is flight, this is freeze, this is fawn. And instead of being swept away by it, you get to choose. Choose a boundary instead of a fight. Choose a break instead of fleeing. Choose to speak instead of freezing. Choose your own needs instead of fawning. This is the power of nervous system awareness. This is healing, not the absence of responses, but the presence of choice. So let's take time to journal, to integrate what you've learned today. Which trauma response feels most familiar to you? When does it show up? What were you protecting yourself from when this response first formed? And here's a powerful question. How might you thank this response for keeping you safe while also exploring whether it still serves you today? Take your time. Be gentle. This is deep work, and you're doing it beautifully. You've just completed lesson 2. Take a moment to recognize how much you've learned. You now understand the 4 trauma responses and how they show up in your life. In our next lesson, we'll explore the window of tolerance, a powerful framework for understanding when your nervous system is regulated versus dysregulated. Until then, practice noticing your responses without judgment. Just observe. You're doing incredible work. I'll see you in the next lesson.